An anthropologist proposed a game to children of an African tribe. He put a basket of fruit near a tree and told the children that the first one to reach the fruit would win them all. When he told them to run, they all took each other's hand and ran together, then sat together enjoying the fruit. When asked why they ran like that, they said, Ubuntu. How can one of us be happy if all the others are sad? Ubuntu is a philosophy of African tribes that can be summed up as I am because we are. Working with communities and schools to improve the lives of all children. Parents for Public Schools of Jackson.
My name is Frederick Nolan, a board member for Parents for Public Schools Jackson. I have the distinct honor of being your moderator for this afternoon. Lunch Bunch meets the first Wednesday of every month at 11:45, except in January. We invite you to join us and bring your friends. For those who may not be familiar with Parents for Public Schools of Jackson, the organization was founded here in Jackson in 1989. Our work centers around supporting parents as partners with schools in the education of their children, ensuring that all children have access to quality teaching and learning, and engaging the public in active support of our public schools. PPSJ has adopted a philosophy from Africa called Ubuntu. At its core, Ubuntu is described as I am because we are. We're delighted to have with us this afternoon Ms. Lakeisha Marshall Thomas, principal of Provine High School, and Commander Tyree Jones of the Jackson Police Department. Lakeisha Marshall Thomas is a resident of Bolton, Mississippi, who attended Bolton Attendance Center in Bolton, Mississippi. She finished with her bachelor's degree in chemistry from Tougaloo College, also obtaining a master's of science in inorganic chemistry with a master's of science in educational leadership. She currently serves as principal of the Provine High School in her 6th year and has celebrated 19 years in public education. I introduce to you Ms. Marshall Thomas.
Social media is our topic for today. And I know everyone is connected somehow to some form of social media. For us, it's Facebook, and the kids used to say, well, that's for old people. But now, if you notice, their interaction on Facebook has increased a lot as well amongst our teenagers. And we want to talk about the aspect of our students. It looks like about 72% of our students are using Snapchat. If you have children, you definitely need to be a part or learn about this particular venue. Facebook is next, and if you notice, Facebook is picking back up with the youth. The instances that we're having now from our kids, it was Snapchat, it was Instagram, but guess what we're seeing now more of? Facebook issues. What is cyberbullying? Social media, we know, is very, very beneficial. Students can use them for numerous things that will be beneficial to them educationally. But there's a downside to it, and this is the issue that I want to talk about today. Was the issue of cyberbullying. It is something that we're dealing with in the schools, and it is not just high schools. We're talking about middle school and even elementary schools. And it's really just a modern day bullying. In the past, it was face to face. Now it's via computer, cell phones. It's a way that students are able to bully and hide and do it. Some of the cyberbullying issues that we currently deal with and that we've seen in our district, posting of fights. The Attorney General considers posting of fights to be a form of cyberbullying. Universal post. So for example, this is one that we had at 2 p.m. Fight anyone you have a problem with. Next one, exposed sex pages. Where you post a picture of a female or something and you post it. Burn pages. Where you post pictures of students and reveal information about them. For example, if they have an STD. Homosexual bashes. And it's mostly done by boys, by males. Where there are other boys who bash other males that are homosexual. To be honest, a thing that our teenagers do, where if you post to be honest, then what you have to do is make a statement about somebody. A lot of times the statements are not really nice. Ratings. You'll have a list of students listed, and you're to rate them from 1 to 10 with a picture. So for a lot of people, a lot of students, you know, being accepted is very, very important for teenagers. So if you're getting a rating of a 1, that kills students' self-esteem. And then the top 10 or 20 list, students or girls that are in the top 10 or top 20. And then also Ask FM. Now that's a new one. What they'll do is they'll pose a question, and people that go in have to respond to the question on Ask FM. But these are some of the issues that we currently have to deal with. And a lot of times, I'll show you some stats later. If you have children, they're probably not going to tell you about it. The stats state that 1 out of 10 will report it. Our Attorney General, Jim Hood, and he actually sent this letter out about 2 years ago, where it was a warning to teenagers and to parents about the seriousness of this issue, cyberbullying. It is a really, really big issue. You don't see a lot of bullying face-to-face in schools anymore. And it probably would have been better if it was a face-to-face bully, because when you went home, it would go what? It would go away. But when cyberbullying, it never goes away, because they're always connected to some form of technology, always. So there's no escaping it. It says, under Mississippi law, bullying occurs when a victim reasonably perceives that he or she has been threatened or harassed. It does not matter whether the bully intended to threaten or harass the victim. That's very, very important. We have to explain that to our parents often. The students, well, it was not my intent, but if the student on the receiving end perceives it to be bullying and harassment, then guess what the law says? It's bullying and harassment. This is an actual post that I pulled off of the internet. They told her to just die. Just die, please. An actual post. And we wanted to kind of talk about this issue because a lot of times we are removed from it because we don't talk to them a lot and we don't pull them out. The stats will tell you only 1 out of 10 will tell. So if you have children that are in the district, nieces, nephews, talk to them, because there is support out there. And our district does a really, really good job of helping students deal with cyberbullying. We have a very stern policy in place. At Provine, our students know that's one thing you will not do, and that's cyberbullying. 11 facts about cyberbullying. 81% of young people think bullying online is easier to get away with than bullying in person. That's why they do it, because they can hide behind the computer. They can hide behind their cell phones. They don't have to be face to face. The next one that says only 1 in 10 victims will inform a parent or trusted adult about their abuse. What they want to happen, the student, they just want it to go away. Oftentimes it does not. It generally grows and gets worse and worse and worse. Girls are about twice as likely as boys to be victims and perpetrators. Bullying victims are 2 to 9 times more likely to consider committing suicide. We have a reporting form where students can fill out with an administrator or counselor where they're reporting bullying or harassment. And then there's an investigation that takes place. The state of Mississippi, also Mississippi Department of Education, has a Stop Cyberbullying website. And there's a number, there's support there for parents, there's support for teachers, support for students there as well. Okay, why do kids cyberbully? Some kids might think they're having fun. And a lot of times that's exactly what they think they're doing. They think it's just fun. They don't think anybody's getting hurt, or I was just playing. That's the number one answer. Oh, we were just playing. You were playing. Some kids think it feels as though they're invisible and no one would know they're doing it. Some kids want to get revenge for something that another student did to them at school. These are just some ways that we've experienced cyberbullying: instant messaging, text messaging, emails. And we're going to talk about one that's very, very prevalent now. It's where the students go and create fake accounts under someone else's name. So for example, if Mr. Nolan, I could go and screenshot his Instagram, his Facebook page, and create another page just like his. And I'll go and I'll, post. He doesn't know it's me. I'll talk about other kids. I'll post pictures. I'll just do some ugly things. Stealing passwords or impersonations, and that's exactly what we're talking about. And our students, for some reason, they think with the best friends, they share their passwords. They know their one another's passwords to their social media accounts. And then when they fall out, guess what happens? I still have your password. Flaming. That's what they call fights online, though. We get a lot of these. These are the ones that spill over into the school. Harassment, repeatedly sending offensive, rude, and insulting messages. And then, of course, text wars. You have your cell phone, and my click will go in on one person via text messages. Websites. Have you all seen a website that was created by another student about another student? An entire website. And it's very, very difficult to track those down without law enforcement support. sending pictures through email, texts, cell phones, and Instagram. You'll have students that'll take pictures of students in the classroom. They'll make a derogatory comment and post it. It could be something that a student has on. It could be a hairstyle. It could be shoes. They're not wearing the most popular Jordans. They'll take a picture of a student's shoes and make a comment. Instagram and Twitter, these are the interactive websites where, it's always ongoing, always ongoing. Now, internet polling, look at the word, is Lakia a what? Dot. This was a true internet polling question that was out there. And the students had to respond yes or no and vote. And it'll tell you how many, sometimes it'll just be how many likes. How many likes you get will be yes. If you like it, then you're saying what? Yes. Teen codes. I just wanted to share some of these with you all to see how 2017 you are. On point. That means she's on point. That's a good one. On fleek. Her hair is on fleek. Her eyebrows on fleek. If you have teenagers, this is just FYI. Basic. Girls at the schools don't want to be called basic. That means they're ordinary or they're just basic. They're not, up top. So if you call a girl a basic, they're offended. Turnt. That means to kind of get hype. Of course, the Bye Felicia is old. To be honest. They do a lot of to be honests. That's just a way for them to say some things that otherwise they probably wouldn't have said if someone didn't put it out there. Bae. That was new to a lot of the teachers. We thought it was a short way of just calling baby. Nope. It means before anyone else. If that's your bae, that means you come before everybody else. Slay. That's a good term. And then zero chill. They don't like that one either. They mean you're not cool. You have zero chill. What can you do to stop cyberbullying? And I think that's where we, as parents and educators, this is where we step in to assist. We have roughly maybe 1,200 students at Provine. Out of 1,200 students, probably 1,198 of them have a cell phone. And probably 1,100 I'd probably say 1,198 have some type of social media site that they're connected to. So it is an issue, and it's not just an issue that's in Jackson. It's not just an issue that's in Mississippi. It's all throughout the country. To tell the cyberbully to stop, the target could send a non-emotional assertive message to the cyberbullying telling him to her to stop. That's the recommendation that we tell our students. You don't respond with profanity or any type of profane-laced comments. Only thing you do is you just ask them to please stop or remove. And what we request is that they screenshot or send the message to us via email, and we'll take it from there. Print out and save the threatening messages. That helps with the case outside, because oftentimes the parents of the perpetrator, the parent doesn't know that they're doing it. Use good messaging manners. There are only two ways that you communicate via messages, right? Is either the words that they can't see your facial expressions, right? They can't tell whether you're being sentimental. They can't tell whether you're being aggressive. They just have to go by the words and also by your manners. And I'm talking about your internet manners, how you conduct yourself on whatever site you're on. If you're a person and everything you post is vulgar and you're using inappropriate language, sexual undertone, all of those things, that becomes part of your internet manner. And people form an opinion about you based on just your manners on the internet. Ignore. Block all communications with a cyberbully through email or instant messaging contact lists. That's the first thing we tell them. Unfriend them. Block them or unfriend them. If they have your cell phone number, block them. Avoid going to the site or group where you have been attacked. That is the most difficult thing for them to do, is not to go back to that particular site or that particular conversation or post. Change your email address, your account, username, or your phone number. And before you respond, you take 5. Before responding to any type of messages that have been posted, we suggest that you take 5. And it says go and do some activities, walk around, ride a bike, go play ball, and then come back and respond. You just ask them, please stop with the messaging. Talk to a friend or an older sibling about it. Tell your parents and come up with a plan. Have your parents talk to the cyberbully's parents. Now, this is what I would suggest. If the students attend the same school, is that the parent contact the principal to set up a meeting with both parents. Not go to their houses. Not contact them via phone. We'll ask that you come to the school and let the school serve as a mediator between both parents. You can also report inappropriate messaging to the internet service provider. So for example, even if it's Facebook, you can report an inappropriate post in Facebook, Instagram, all of those. And I tell the kids all the time, you think you're anonymous, but your computer cookies, they can track you down. They can track from your post. It can go all the way back to the number that particular provider is attached to, which is how law enforcement does help out. The Attorney General's office, they have a cyberbullying unit, and this is what they're best at.
Sometimes the best solution is to redirect bad behavior, and I'm wondering if there are any programs or ideas out there to take teenagers' enthusiasm for using social media and direct it positively.
I know through instructionally, the computers that we use, our students have MacBooks, and of course they can connect to social media as well. But we try to use those venues instructionally to get the involvement that we're looking for. Not just idle time is the problem. They have a lot of idle time. So if you kind of challenge or tunnel it to something instructionally, it does minimize a lot of instances.
Are there any policies in relationship to students having the cell phones in school?
Well, students can have cell phones in their book bags or purses. They must be turned off. They can only use cell phones for instructional purposes only. That's if the teacher has put it in their lesson plans that the students are going to conduct they're going to do some research or something. It has to be inside the teacher's lesson plans. If it does not have anything to do with instruction, students are not allowed to use those phones, nor are they allowed to use them on the bus to and from school. And what I would also suggest is for parents is whatever site your child is on, as far as social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, friend them. You should be their friend. And if they don't want you to be their friend, then you should tell them, well, hey, you can't be on it either. You don't want to be considered a lurker, which means that, you're lurking and monitoring everything they do on social media, but you want to know if something does happen that you can intervene. If they say a profane word, you can't come behind them and say, remove that word, because, they'll just be embarrassed. But if there's something that's inappropriate and you know it's going to go further, then you should intervene. But please become their friends. They have an app that monitors your child's social media interactions without them knowing it. They also have a particular app that will monitor their text messages on their phones, and they don't know it. If your phones are connected, you can monitor all of their text messages. Do we have training for students? Yes, we do. Each school has, we call it orientation, grade level orientations, and those are generally held twice a year at the beginning of the school year, and then we return from the Christmas break. As part of our orientation, this is always topic number 1. Those are things that we build into our grade level or student level orientation. First year we got MacBooks. I think our teachers received 80 hours of instructional training for technology. Whatever the cell phone can do, the MacBook does the same thing. Even the texting, they text via their MacBooks. They don't necessarily text via their cell phones. And we think that they're on their MacBooks, and they're actually texting. So we have to make sure that we incorporate both. They have free polling apps available that students can respond via their cell phones. We have Remind 101, which is a communication for the teachers and the students. A couple of our teachers, that's how the students ask questions about a particular question that they may have on the homework, and the teacher responds via Remind 101. Thank you.
Commander Tyree Jones, a lifelong citizen of Jackson, is a 17-year veteran of the Jackson Police Department. He is currently assigned to the Major Investigations Division, Violent Crimes, which oversees the Robbery, Homicide Division, Auto Theft Division, and Mobile Crime Lab. Commander Jones is also the Public Information Officer for the department. He has experienced several assignments within the department to include Patrol Officer, Robbery, Homicide Detective, Patrol Sergeant, Investigation Sergeant, and SWAT Logistics Officer prior to being appointed by Chief Lee Vance as Commander in September 2014.
Commander Tyree Jones, Jackson Police Department. I have several detectives and sergeants that work up under me, and we are responsible for investigating the violent crimes, all of the crimes that get the most attention. Of course, it's unfortunate that we have to investigate some of these violent crimes, and it's very unfortunate that it is amongst our youth and our school children that are actually victims of some of these crimes, and there are also suspects in some of these crimes as well. And of course, in this day and age, when we investigate these crimes, one of the first places we go is social media. Social media tells a lot about a person's identity. It tells a lot about criminal activity that a person may be involved in. And it also provides precursors as well as it relates to crimes that they may be connected to or knowledge of people they may know committing these crimes as well. A study shows that about 61 to 70% of children 13 to 17 years old are connected to social media some kind of way, being it Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. They are connected. About 88% of children 13 to 17 years old are also in possession of cell phones as well. And it shows that they send at least 30 messages, receive and send at least 30 messages per day. We also utilize cell phones as well during our investigations. We find things in cell phones that aid us in prosecuting crimes as well, or may also provide us with precursors as it relates to other types of crimes. I just have a few examples of some of the things that I have experienced through social media during my career, especially within the last couple of years. There are certain areas that children seem to go to and they have some type of ongoing feud, whether it be cyberbullying or somebody's mad at the other person. And the only thing that it does is it escalates. It escalates on social media and they keep going back and forth. And the only thing it's doing is brewing and it is creating potential violence behind it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure if you all familiar with MySpace. There were these two guys, they were feuding on MySpace. One of the guys told him, said, meet me around the corner. When they met around the corner, the guy ended up getting killed because of this feuding on MySpace, okay? And these were juveniles involved in this crime. And nobody noticed anything that was going on between them to intervene before this violence occurred, okay? There's also another story of a young lady. After school, there was some criminal activity involving possible gang activity as well. These guys have been feuding back and forth on social media all day. They were going to fight, they were going to hook up after school, and they were going to bring guns. Well, they held to their word. They met up after school, fight broke out, guns were drawn, shots were fired, and this young lady that was walking home from school got caught in the crossfire. Got shot in the chest and she was killed, okay? These are just some of the things that we have to see during our investigations and some of the things that we see from social media. Ways that we can prevent these as parents, we tell people all the time, we tell parents, you know, monitor your children's social media activity. It's a must. My pastor at church said a few weeks ago, what password? Ain't no such thing as a password. If there's a password, it needs to be family friendly where everybody in the family would know how to access it, okay? Look for precursors on your children's social media, who they may be friends with, go through their timeline and see what other people are doing on their timeline, what type of activity is going on. You know, there's no way a child should be 16, 17 years old on social media posing with a handgun in their hand. That's a precursor. You know, that's showing that that child is affiliated or involved with someone or some type of enterprise that could create criminal activity, okay? Look for clothing that your children may be wearing on social media, shoes, clothes. You know, like they always say, if I didn't buy it, I need to know where it came from. They get clothes, they get shoes, they take pictures on social media with it. You know, they posing, they have on their expensive shoes, expensive jeans. Parents don't know where it came from. Parents don't know anything about it. When we see these types of things, we're able to connect these children, when I say children, I mean 16 and 17-year-olds, to robberies that have occurred here in the city of Jackson. We're able to connect that. We're able to see that they have been a part of something, that they have obtained money illegally, criminally, and this money has been utilized for the purchase of things for themselves. As parents and as a community as well that's monitoring these social media accounts, these are some of the things you should take into consideration. Another thing is the emojis that your children post on social media. Be aware of the type of emojis that your children are posting as well. We had an individual, 17 years old. We believe that he had been involved in several robberies of convenience stores here in the city of Jackson, okay? Well, if you go to his social media account, and if you pay close attention to some of the things that was on his Instagram page, there were precursors, there were signs. There were signs where he would post one of his emojis would be a gas pump. Beside that gas pump, there would be a cash. Beside that cash, there would be gun. Beside that gun, there would be armed. What does that tell you? Armed robbery of a gas station, indirectly, okay? But I'm saying these are some of the things that should be monitored and should be looked at closely on social media accounts. And if you see these things, not even on your own children's pages, but anyone pages they may be affiliated with, contact the police department, make us aware of these things, allow us to intervene and try to stop from whatever it is that may occur or could occur from happening. We don't like to come in on the back end and have to investigate crimes and investigate things, especially involving our children when it comes to social media, that we as parents can intervene in prior to it happening. We see on Twitter, we see on Facebook, more so on Twitter, you have terrorist cells. You know, they recruit people through Twitter. You have gangs that recruit people through Facebook. There are signs. Monitor your children's inboxes. You know, go through their inboxes, see who's communicating with them, see who's asking them to do certain things, see who's trying to get to know them. You know, those are also signs as well. When you think about gang activity and social media, everybody thinks about what we had back in the 80s and 90s when you had two gangs. Well, if you monitor social media very closely, you have other gangs that branch off from these particular gangs, and they form smaller groups. And sometimes those groups are composed of black gangsters, disciples, and vice lords. They come together. They come together as one particular group, and their main goal is to commit crimes together. But this can be noticed on social media as well. We noticed one once upon a time, it was MOB. You know, they called themselves men of business, and these were gangs affiliated with two separate gangs that came together to commit crimes here in the city. You know, we were able to link them to social media. We were able to link the people that were involved in it to social media accounts as well, you know, and unfortunately, it involved our youth. They started recruiting guys when they were 16, 17, 18 years old. If your child has a social media account and you have a social media account, you know, if they can't be your friend, then they don't need a social media account. The main thing is trying to stop them from committing crimes and being affiliated with people on social media that may recruit them to do it. As a juvenile, if you're involved in a crime and you possess a gun and you're 13 or older, you're charged as an adult. And we have access to your social media account at that particular time. We have access to your phone at that particular time as well. And like I said, those will tell the story, and those will help us investigate crimes, and we're able to link other people to it as well. But as parents, you have to monitor exactly what's going on, the type of pictures your children are posting, and again, who they are necessarily affiliated with on the social media account themselves.
Children can be charged with child pornography if they post sexting or send sexting pictures of themselves. Is that accurate?
No, it's not. But you do have a state law that's called posting of an injurious message, okay? Meaning if you take a picture of someone else and that person finds that picture to be harmful or is some type of nude picture, anything like that, and you post it on your social media account, it's a felony charge. You can't be charged with posting of an injurious message. And yes, we do investigate those crimes, and yes, we do see it as well. And it's more likely to be a video versus a picture. A video that a child or a juvenile has been involved in some type of sex act with someone, and someone gets access to their cell phone, and that person gets mad at the other child, cyberbullying. What do? They take it and post it to a social media account. Whether it's their own social media account or they create a false social media account to post it to, but for the world to see, it's still posting of an injurious message. And if we are able to narrow down exactly who did it and prove that they did it, yes, you can be charged with a felony crime.
You may see some of that when it comes to high school students because their age ranges are different. So, for example, you have a 19-year-old boyfriend and a 16-year-old girlfriend, and she sends a message, then he could possibly, because he is an adult, as far as the statutes of child pornography, because she is underage, but he's not.
If it's a 16-year-old male child texting his good stuff to a 16-year-old girl, how's that? How's that in trouble?
If it's texting, then it's something different, okay? Based on the fact that that person wanted it, just depends on if that person wanted that picture or not. That 16-year-old sends that other 16-year-old that picture. That's between the two of them, okay? Boy gets mad at girl send boy a picture, or vice versa, okay? What that person does is take that picture and send it to a whole group of people without that person's permission, and that person finds it to be harmful. That's posting of an injurious message, whether it's through text message or whether it's through social media as well.
Believe it or not, those 3-year-olds know how to go to Facebook. They don't read. They don't know how to read, but they know how to enter whatever they need to enter in order to pull those websites up.
They know how to do it because they see the parents doing it, and the parents are allowing them to do it. Now, don't get me wrong. As far as our children are concerned, our teenagers, social media can be very good. It can be very, very beneficial on so many levels. They have an opportunity to paint a picture of who they really are in a positive manner. They're able to share positive things amongst themselves, and they're able to join groups of people that are on the same positive note that they are. But at the same time, we have to monitor it, because you do have people out there on social media that are lurking. You know, they pose to be certain people that may have a certain topic in mind to lure certain individuals into certain groups. And when they get into those particular groups, that's not what it is. It's something totally different. It's some type of criminal element, or it's some type of initiation, or it's something that we as parents wouldn't agree with as well. There should also be a time period if your children are on social media that they're able to utilize it. There should be a specific time period, weekends, an hour or so after school, after homework, or something, if they are on social media in a positive manner.
The cell phone servers allow you to go on your account and you can shut your child's phone down at a certain time.
Right.
It shuts their data down, it shuts their texting down, everything shuts down. And secondly, those teenagers are really sneaky, and even if you follow them on Facebook and Instagram, they know how to keep you from seeing stuff. So I make sure that there are at least 20 people who follow my child.
That's a good point, because also on social media, you can block somebody from seeing something. If I want to share something with everybody else, but I don't want to share it with mom and daddy, I can go on there and block mom and daddy where they can't see it. But that's when you have other people that they may not necessarily block that see these things that they may not agree with. Those things should be reported to you as well. You know, well, I saw your son, I saw your daughter, you know, post this, and you may need to check into it. If you go on there and you say, well, I don't see it, well, chances are you would probably be blocked from seeing it. You know, I'm not going to sit here and disagree at all with a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old having a cell phone, you know. I have a 7-year-old daughter right now, and I'm smart. She wanted a cell phone for Christmas. I gave her one of my old cell phones, but guess what? It's not connected. The only way she can use it is if it's connected to Wi-Fi to play games and things. So it's really no different than her having access to an iPad. It's just in the form of a cell phone. She can text me from that cell phone, you know, when I'm away from home. She can send me a message or whatever, but she just doesn't have access to everything that a person with a normal cell phone would have as well. I monitor the Jackson Police Department's Facebook page. So if you all run into anything or you see anything on Facebook or any other social media site, screenshot it, and our Facebook page is under Jackson Police Department. Send us a direct message. I monitor those messages, and I follow up on those messages as well. If it's nothing that necessarily concerns us, I make sure it gets to the right place where it needs to go as well. So that's another positive tool that, you know, that we utilize regarding social media.
I was listening, and I know that we're in a different world from where my parents raised me, and My dad was the first narc in my home, but I also know that I heard a takeaway is that parents are our children's first teacher. We have to be monitoring, engaging them, and making sure they're doing what we expect them to do. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending today. This is also a thanks going out to our engaged audience. Please join us for our next lunch month scheduled for April the 5th. Until then, please follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Isn't that ironic? And check our website for updates on the good news coming out of our schools and community. Remember, we're working together to improve the lives of all children. Enjoy the rest of your day.